This brings us to the issue of these two subcategories within the group of Gerim, for which an explanation is obviously needed as to why these two categories have been singled out for special mention. From the very outset, we would need to reject the fact that their source of income required backbreaking work as the reason for this special mention, simply because their source of income has little relevance to the re-establishment of the covenantal arrangement between them and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By the same token, we would be forced to conclude that the Chotev Eitzim and the Shoev Mayim do not by default fall into the category of the Ger, for if this was the case, there'd be no point in mentioning them as a specific subgroup amongst those who are entering into the covenantal relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Furthermore, we do not find any reference to them in any of the earlier Sfarim from Chumash Shmot onwards, from which we can draw the conclusion that the issues, the forces that led to the creation of the Chotev Eitzim and the Shoev Mayim Ger category did not exist up until this point in time. And this is the issue with which Rashi struggles, namely, what were the circumstances that brought about the creation of this subcategory, the Chotev Eitzim and the Shoev Mayim. In addressing this issue, Rashi looks elsewhere beyond the Chumash component for a similar situation, a Chaver b'Mikra, in which a group of people approached the leader of the day requesting acceptance into Klal Yisrael, and for which they were designated as Chotev Eitzim and Shoev Mayim. And this he discovers in Sefer Yehoshua, in which we have a similar set of circumstances to the one that was facing Moshe. The situation of Yehoshua was that the Bnei Yisrael were on the verge of mounting a campaign to conquer Eretz Canaan, and in which the Gibeonites approached with a request to become part of Bnei Yisrael. Similarly, Moshe now stands on the verge of entering Eretz Yisrael, and we can extrapolate from the case of Yehoshua that a group of Canaanim approached Moshe to become part of Klal Yisrael. It is for this reason that we do not find in earlier Sfarim the existence of this subcategory of Ger, because it is only now, on the eve of entering Eretz Canaan, that Moshe faced this issue. In the words of Rashi, Melamed, the fact that we now have a category of Chotev Eitzim teaches us Shebao Canaanim Lehitgayer, that a group of people from a Canaanite nation-state came to Moshe in order to seek conversion, and this was Kederech Shebao Gibonim B'mei Yehoshua, similar to the situation that took place under the leadership of Yehoshua. While on the one hand we have responded to the question as to why these two categories have been listed as distinct entities of the Ger, after all is said and done, they are converts, they are treated as part of the Jewish nation, and therefore, in theory, there would be no need to mention the Chotev Eitzecha and the Shoev Memecha. As we mentioned before, the fact that their occupations were less than desirable would not qualify and have any impact on their status as a Ger. Secondly, the fact that they came to convert during the lifetime of Moshe, that in of itself would not provide a justification for singling out these two categories. In other words, we have in effect not successfully explained the need for identifying these two categories of the Ger for inclusion in the re-establishment of the covenant arrangement and agreement with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This problem is forewarned by Rashi by beginning his commentary with the word melamed, that this, the inclusion of the Chotev Eitzim and the Shoev Mayim, is not superfluous, in that it comes to inform us of information in a form of code of an event that took place prior to their entry into Eretz Canaan.